Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat, episode 15. Today is Sunday, April 28th. Uh, it's about 11:30 in the morning, and it's 2024. So, not a whole lot going on this week. Um, I got a couple of patterns. Um, what else? Uh, Not really a whole lot of knitting. I mean, as you can see, my horrible hairstyle today, I got my haircut. I'm trying to look something up real quick. Sorry. Um, 2 weeks ago on April the 6th, I had my next to the oldest son turn 34. And tomorrow, my oldest son turns 36. So it's kind of a nice weekend. All of the kids were born March, April, and June, so they're kind of like right in the same time period. So it's been a little bit nerve-wracking for me because I realized today that all of the kids are in their 20s, and was talking with my partner earlier about how we used to watch Toy Story and things like that, and those are such old movies now compared. And Frozen with the granddaughter I mean, she's 16, she turned 17 this year, and it's like that was her birthday party. But anyway, tangent over. Happy birthday to all the children. Anyone who's having a birthday recently, coming forward, happy birthday to the world. Um, you didn't come here for ranting, you came here for a knit and chat. Well, today the knit and chat is just going to be that. I'm going to be working and chatting. I don't have a whole lot going on, so grab a cup of something, whatever you want to drink, sit back and relax, work on a project, and so will I, and we'll chat a little bit. So today I have my Shasta kiwi strawberry drink, and I don't really have a whole lot of stuff. I finished a pair of socks that a coworker asked me to knit because his daughter was turning 18 and he was getting her some of those slip-on clog looking Ugg shoes, and he thought it would be neat to have socks to go with them. And I had some sock yarn, and he picked out the color, and she has such tiny feet. I was able to get 2 pairs of socks out of 100-gram skein. I did use a couple of different grays to do the heel, toes, and cuffs. I did afterthought heel, and I got both pair to him on Friday, and her birthday was yesterday. So I had a couple weeks to work on them. I just really wasn't, I don't know. I haven't been, I guess, and my mojo is off, I guess is how I'm trying to say. I did get those done, and I forgot to take pictures. I had them all packaged up for him and ready to wrap, and I didn't want to undo that just to take pictures when I thought about it. So one had like a 20 round cuff with a 60 round leg, and I think it was a 40 round foot, and then I started the toe. So she has like a 6.5 size foot. So doing the afterthought heel and the length of the toe, I thought that would be good. And I did use my twice sheared sheep sock ruler. So I went by size. I think he liked them. He was excited about them, but the other thing that I did get done was my pair of socks. I had just started this pair of socks when he asked me to make those for him. So I stopped working on these long enough to work on his, and then I finished these up. This is the April Yarnable color, is the main color, and I think it's Eat the Donuts, something another, Eat the Donuts, but that's what it is. It's cute. It's just a cream light speckle, and I pulled from my row one. I think they just opened the Yarnable subscription again too this last week, so you might want to check on that. You get either one or two skeins of yarn depending on what you want, and sock weight, DK weight, and you get some extras, and I like it. Um, this is my first one. Uh, then I got row one minis where you get 10 gram mini skeins of different dyers every month. And I used the mini skeins for the heel and toe. And I think for this, I already had it, the pink. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I thought they were cute. I love them. I'm pretty sure I did like a 15 round cuff. I like mine between 15 and 20 rounds. I don't like huge chunky ones. But after wearing these, I do a German twisted cast on. And then I do the cuff. And after wearing them, I'm not sure if I should go to a chunkier cuff because they look like they're stretched out. I did not put these on sock blockers. I just washed them and hung them over the shower curtain rod in my bathroom and let them dry. Um, that's how I've been doing my socks lately because they get too stretched out if I put them on the sock blocker. And I tried to get a small sock blocker, and it's too long for the foot for like a women's 6.5. So the ones that I made for my coworker were also hand washed and just thrown over the shower rod to dry. But I thought that was cute. Um, but I do the 10 to 20 or 15 to 20 round cuff. I do a 60 stitch sock. I do 60 rounds from cuff to where I want my heel. And then I do 60 rounds from the heel to where I start my toe. And then I work my toe. And this one is the rounded toe. I found it on, I think I found it on Ravelry. I'm going to see if I can come up with the name real quick because I have my Ravelry pulled up here. It may take too long to find it. But I would look for a rounded toe on Ravelry for the cuff down sock. That's where I have it. I know I have it downloaded to my phone, but I'm recording on my phone, so I can't look and tell you. So that's my pair of socks. So I did the two for the coworker, and I did that pair of socks, and that's pretty much all I've done for the last 3 weeks. I've looked at patterns. I've done a little bit of this. I've done a little bit of that, and I really haven't done a whole lot. I did start another pair of socks, but I'm doing scrappy socks. So all of my scraps, I use my scraps in my beekeeper's quilt or my miter square blanket and all of that. But I'm using scraps that I like together, and I did like a 10 round cuff, and then I did 10 rounds of each color. So I'm doing those consecutively. So I've got a sock on 2 different needles, and I'm doing magic loop, and I did the cuff color, and then I stopped and I did the cuff of the other one, and then I did the next color 10 rounds, and then I stopped and did that color on the other one for 10 rounds, because I don't want to work through a bunch of different colors and not make sure that I have 10 rounds for the other one. So I figured, because some of them would be cutting close on my scraps, so I figured if I did them at the same time, if one's going to be too short, then I can either, depending on what it looks like, either stop there or go 5 rounds and do like a thinner stripe, because these are good chunky stripes. I mean, they're almost as thick as this, so they're good chunky stripes. Because this is what, a 15, let's see, 1, 2, yeah, this is a 15 stitch cuff. So it's a good chunky stripe for the 10 rounds. So I thought, if I did have a color that I wanted to use and I didn't have enough for 10 rounds on each sock, I could put a 5 round stripe and do half the size, and I thought that would be cute. Anyway, I just thought I would play around, but now I'm like, I kind of like my socks when I do the plain vanilla socks. I like that constant stockinette stitch, so I don't know. The other thing that I've been working on is my granny stripe blanket. I haven't gotten very far. The last time I showed the granny stripe blanket on the channel here, I was here where that marker is, and I've done up to here. So now I'm going to move my marker. So quite honestly, I worked on it maybe a couple of rounds up until today. I did like a couple of rounds on it since we last talked about it, so it's not great, but this is just fingering weight yarns that I had leftovers of. Usually they get put in bag. They'll get stuck into, excuse me, sorry, they get stuck into a magic knot ball, which I just knotted the end up on that one, but and then I'll just add them in. So you can see this one right here. I'm wearing those socks today. But yeah, I'm almost done with this ball. And then there's smaller balls here I haven't added to yet. So I just had some that, this is another magic knot ball, and I was trying to clean up my area, and I just have little pieces here and there. They're not really enough to do a whole lot with, but I can put them in the balls. And this right here is the color I did those 2 pairs of socks out of. I don't know if you can see that, but it's called Stone something or another. Sorry. One of those balls went running away, and if I didn't get it, I would never find it. I can't remember what the color is called. It's Stonework or Stone something, but it's a fingering weight yarn, and I think he got it at Hobby Lobby. Not sure. It's Yarn Bee. I think that's Hobby Lobby, yeah. We went in and he picked the color, so that's it. So that's that one. And then the next thing that I'm working on is, oh, and you can find granny stripe blanket patterns all over. They're all on Ravelry. They're everywhere. The other one is a hat, which is called the Quill. That's what I'm working on now. I don't know how much of that you can see. That's a BrooklynTweed.com is where I got this pattern from. It's going to be large. The one that I'm making is, how big is it? 50 by 50. And in case you didn't know, hap is a name for shawl in the, I don't know, Ireland, Shetland area, some over that way somewhere. Anyway, it's just a big square. Oh, how does Stephen West say it? Schlanket. It's a shawl blanket. But it's just a big and square one. I like it because you can fold it in half and it looks like a double layered triangle shawl. It's huge. A lot of times in Ireland, they would make a hat for someone who's having a new baby because you can wrap the baby in it. You can actually, it's huge, so you could like lay it over you if you're breastfeeding, that kind of stuff. Of course, I'm in the middle of a row, so forgive me. You can't really see a whole lot if I'm in the middle of a row. But this is all yarn that I dyed myself. And as you can see, these are pretty much the same colors. It has a provisional cast on. And then it kind of like goes into a different color. And now it's getting into a lighter color. There won't be much lighter color on this one, on this area, because of the fact that I'm almost done with this middle square. So you start by knitting in garter stitch a middle square. And I have the markers counting how many more I've got. And I think I've got like 30 rounds left, 30 rows left to do on that. Let's see. This is the color I'm working on right now. And I'm not carrying, I just went through all of my darker blues that I had first. I thought that it would be enough to finish, and there's going to be a piece about like that's going to be in the lighter blue, but I'm okay with that. And then I'm going to go around it. You start going around the square when you get the middle done. So then when I start that part, I'm just going to do it with this bare sock yarn. This is the same yarn that these are. I just dyed these in different color blues, playing with colors. And so I'm using the bare yarn that I used. So you have the blue square, that bare yarn around it for a section and or a few rows, and then I'll start with the blue again. So I have more of that lighter color blue. Excuse my yarn management. The basket or the bag that I have it in is an old one, and it doesn't have a button on it anymore. So it fell over and they all went rolling. But I have those, and then I think I'm going to go into probably, maybe the next thing would be the solid. I think I'm going to go into the solid when I finish this one. I'll go to solid. And then I have this one. And then I have this one, which is even They look almost, well, they are about the same. And then I have this bluish green. You can see the different colors. I have smaller ones of each one. Let's see if I can hold up the smaller ones of each one. So I've done the darker, and then I'm going to go here, and then solid, and then here. I don't know. Anyway, it's just a thought. But I'm not working on it a whole lot. I like the plain stockinette stitch of socks, but they're done pretty quick. This right here, for the large, you're garter stitching for a very long time. And then you have to have a certain amount of garter bumps. And there's two different, excuse me. Sorry, I just had lunch. There's two different sizes in this pattern. So a small is a 40 by 40 inch and the large is a 50 by 50 inch. So depending on which size you make, is how much yarn you need. And there's different sections. And I'm not sure if I want to do complete sections with certain colors or if I just want to work. I want to break up the colors. So I'm doing the blue square, and then I'm going to do a couple of rounds of the bare yarn. Probably 4 or 5 rounds. And then I'm going to go back to the blue, because this is all yarn that's been sitting here. It's not really enough to do anything with. It's stuff that I've dyed because I was playing around with colors, and I really don't have anything else to do with it if I just keep it. And I've kept it around for a couple of years, and I'm just using it. And I have other yarns that I've dyed that are different colors, that are like speckled and stuff like that. I think I'm going to make, when and if I ever finish this one, I'm going to make another one in the same way, but I'm going to fade the colors in the middle. Instead of trying to work all the middle in that one color of blue and then being that much short, I don't want to take it out and do it again. So I'm not going to be that perfectionist. I'm going to leave it as is, just carry on with blue, carry on with what I was doing, use all of the colors. I just want to use the cream to break it up a little bit. But the next one, I'm going to take each color that I have, and I'm going to do, say, 20 or 30 rows in one color, and then I'm going to fade in the next color, and then do a solid 20 or 30 rows of that color, because there's something like 270 rows on the large one. So it's huge, that middle piece. So I think I'll be good in fading in the different colors and just using all of the colors and then placing them on the outside. Anyway, that's my ramble. So now, the other thing that I'm doing right now is the Jethro cardigan. I don't know how well you can see that. That's on Ravelry. It's a granny square cardigan with knitted ribbing at the bottom, knitted sleeves, and button band. I love it. It's so cute. That is by Tanis Lavalle. Tanis Fiber Arts on Ravelry. It's done in DK weight. You're using a size 6 and a size 4 knitting needles, and you're crocheting. So you're crocheting the granny squares. I'll show you what I have here. If I can take them out. Where are they? They must have all fallen because they're not all in here. Okay, so I do have a couple here. These are the only ones that I have, but like this is just 2 of them that I've done so far. And in this one I did one color and then I did the solid color. So what I'm doing is, for my size, I need to have quite a few squares. So I'm doing the different colors. I have mandalas that I'm taking apart and using. I say taking apart. I'm trying to do color management on my granny squares. And if I have the other ones, let me see if I can grab them. I'll be right. Okay. So I hate it when my bags fall over and I don't notice that things fall out. What I'm doing is, this is 3 colors. So I'm doing 3 or 4 colors. This one's a 4 color. All in DK. And I'm trying to gauge my yarns to where I can do that. If it fades, that would be great. And I'm doing solid colors. So when I start a color, I do a solid color. And then I try to work it with one of these, like a different color middle, to do a 2 color. And then I do the 3 or 4 color. I have the hiccups. So as you can see on this one, the very first part of the skein was this darker orangey yellow. And then it went, before the middle was done, it went straight into this yellow. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't care. And then there's the darker. But on some of them, I have taken them apart and finessed the colors here. I'm just using all different colors. I got this gorgeous buttercup DK yarn from Yarnable. And I misordered. I don't usually order DK yarn. I wanted to do socks for this, and I haven't done DK weight socks. I'm not sure if I want to do DK weight socks. People like them, but I don't know. They're just kind of thick for me. So I don't know if I'm going to or not. But I used this, and I ordered the fingering weight for socks. But I used this. That is my middle on most of these. But now I'm going to do a solid one too. I'm just trying to use up some yarns that I had, and I need a lot of granny squares. And then I have a cream color, which I don't have in here, that I'm going to go and join all of the squares with and do the sleeves and the button band. So what I'm going to do is, this is the 3 styles of granny squares that I have. So I'm thinking of doing them like solid in the middle, 2, and then 4. That kind of thing, to where I don't have like all solids next to each other. It'll be like a 2 color, a solid color, and then a 3 or 4 color. And then up here, it may be the solid color, the 2 color, or the 3 or 4 color, you know, something like that. I have to lay it out and see how I want them laid. But that's what I'm thinking. I think it'd be really cute. That pattern is like like $9 on Ravelry. And I think it's kind of cute, especially if you crochet and knit. It's a way to get both of them in one. Um, what other things have I really haven't had a whole lot of gumption to do anything, I guess is what you can say. I really want to do my quill. I want to kind of get it finished. I'm not really liking the way the colors are laying out on it. I probably should have done the smaller one to be able to have one solid blue in the middle. But at the same time, I'm okay with making something more than once if, like in this one, I'm using scrap blue yarns that I dyed. That's all I'm using. And the bear yarn as a break to break it up. If I do something and I want to change it up or I want to spice it up, then I will. I mean, I did that with these socks. For the longest time, I thought, oh, I can only do socks with white or black heels and toes, and I'm starting to play with color with socks. So not doing a whole lot. I want to sew. I want to do English paper piecing. I want to do beekeeper's quilt. I want to do some quilting. I have so many things that I want to do. And let's talk about the spinning. Okay. I started all gung ho on the 100 days of spinning with Andrea Mowry. She's doing 100 days of long draw spinning. And I brought out my electric spinner and I can't get going on it. I brought out my Turkish drop spindle and my regular drop spindle, and I was getting going on my drop spindle. That wasn't too bad. But I'm just not able to get the mojo going there. So yes, I've stopped spinning. I did put a few videos on here of it. I said I would do a video every week. I lost a week's worth of spinning videos because, as you can tell, I don't edit my videos that I put up at all because I don't believe in that, oh, what do they call it? Social media aesthetic or style or whatever, where everything's Instagram perfect. I don't like that. Kudos for those of you who edit your videos, who want to keep them at a certain length or whatever, or start to ramble and can go in and do all of that. I'm not that savvy tech-wise. And I believe that if I mess up doing something, that whoever's watching me may get more out of the fact that I showed how I messed up, when I messed up, and how I'm going to try to fix it than to cut all of that out and only show the perfect. And if you watch my spinning videos, you're going to see a whole heck of a lot of not perfect spinning. Since then, I have signed up for Craftsy, I think. Anyway, they do a lot of different spinning classes and stuff like that. Well, I got the deal where you get a year for $249. I think it was. It's kind of expensive if you don't do that. I think you get 10 classes with that. I'm not quite sure. But they do have some spinning ones. And I've watched YouTube videos. And again, Watching YouTube videos is great. It's amazing as long as they're going to show you without cutting what goes wrong. And then they'll just, I mean, that's the way most of them are. They're sitting there spinning and talking, and then all of a sudden it jumps to a few minutes later, and it's like, oh, well, I had this and this happen, and I went in and fixed it. And that's what I need, because when I get to having this and this happen, I need to see how you're fixing it. So, um, hopefully there'll be some more of those type things. I'm not quite sure. I I don't know. I'm just at a point where I want to do things. I need to declutter my space. I mean, you can see clutter behind me, but this whole space is cluttered. I just have so much. And I do have a lot of crafting hobbies. I like to do some beadwork. I don't do anything fancy. I just make my own stitch markers. And I don't have one sitting here. Yes, I do. I have several sitting here. See? I've made my own progress keepers. They're little turtles and stars and seashells. Starfish and seashells and stuff. So those are little progress keepers that I've made. And then I've made these little hoopy stitch markers because there's no metal. They're just there and they hang down and they can hook over whatever size needle. You don't have to have a special size for a needle because this one can go over the smallest of needles and it can go over the largest of needles. It's on this pin. I mean, it just hooks there and it's kind of stretchy and, you know, it's not going to hook on anything. That's what I can't stand. But that's what I do with beads is I make those. And then I have my little needle keepers. So it's just magnets is all I use. But when I'm doing like English paper piecing or cross stitching, I can put this. Here's some fabric. So this is what I do. I put the front on where I want it to sit. I use the magnet on the back. And then I can use my needle. It just holds my needle. So when you're English paper piecing or you're cross stitching or you're hand quilting a quilt, it won't go all the way through the quilt, but you do have a place that you can do it on the edge of the quilt because you haven't bound it yet. You can put it on one of the edges. This is through 2 pieces of material here. So it'll go through the Aida cloth and stuff. It's just if your magnets will stick together with whatever width you have in between them, that's what it is. Here's one here. Little coffee cup latte type thing. These are just, I mean, I don't make them gorgeous or anything. But it works great, you know. Needle minders is what they're called. And my beads. And then I quilt. So I make things like this little mug rug that I have here for my drinks. I crochet. This is another little mug rug. This one gets used a lot. That's just crochet with fringes combed out. Um, all kinds of stuff. I like to dabble. I like to make journals. So I do different journals. I don't have one of those in here. But yeah, it's just, and there's so much everywhere. And how many progress keepers or stitch markers do I need to make? I mean, I've got a whole drawer of beads. So I either need to go through all of those beads and say, these are my very, very, very favorite and put them in a container, or these need to be made and gifted or sold or whatever it is I'm going to do with them. And then these need to just go away. Something else I have alphabet number beads that I will take, and I do, uh, I don't really have, like, here we go. You take one of these light bulb stitch markers and you put the alphabet, like knit F, or like knit front and back, N or K F B, and you put it on the light bulb stitch markers and you attach them in place so they're not moving every time you have to take that off. And I make my own knit front and back marker. So here at this stitch, I need to knit front and back. Or I have one that says R and one that says B. So back, front, or F for front, B for back, or, just whatever I need. I've got different ones. Make one, that kind of stuff. I do my own. There's some of them that I'll purchase. Some of them I won't. If I have the beads to do it, then I'll do it. If I don't, I don't. Um, I like to make baby size quilts or throw quilts. I haven't done that. It's just a whole mojo thing. I'm rambling again, so I don't know what else to do. I didn't have I I have the hiccups. I'm so sorry. I've had the hiccups the entire time. I had lunch just before, and if I tend to overeat just the slightest bit, I'll get the hiccups. So that's my cue on when to stop eating. So I really should have waited a little bit. Anyway, um, not a lot to show, not a lot to do. The only other thing that I was going to talk about is I want to do, and I've said it on here before, like a capsule wardrobe type knitting or intentional knitting for things that I would wear. I know I have on long sleeves today, and it's kind of a jacket. I live in Central Oregon, and it is freezing. It's like in the low 50s, and it's all rainy and stuff today, and I'm cold, which is a good thing because normally I'm burning up hot, and I think the last couple of days my body's trying to figure out how to regulate the temperature because I got all my hair cut off. When I got my hair cut the last 2 months ago, I got it cut short, pretty short. And when I went in yesterday, it was already past my neck, past my collar. And I got it cut to like up here. So it's also very thick hair. My hair had like 3 different colors, from a dark red to a blonde to a gray in my hair. Um, so hot. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, and my body's, I've been cold for the last 2 days, is what I'm trying to say, but it's rainy and it's in the 50s, around the low 50s, and it's just cool. So I normally don't wear long sleeves. If I do wear long sleeves, I wear layered. So I could have a tank top on and then have a long sleeve on over it. So when I do get too hot, I can take the long sleeve off and then I still have my tank top. So my intentional sweater making is going to be short sleeve or like tanks. And I do have a couple of patterns like the Harvest Tea from Ozetta. I mean, you can kind of see that right there. And then the Roadyripper from Ozetta, which is kind of like that. Um, oh, what do they call them? Um, I think they started with an H. It's the t-shirt with just a few buttons there. Um, and then I have a couple of like the Silver Spring Tank. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Um, I'm trying to get tops that I can make myself that are done like short sleeve. I don't care what kind of material they're made out of. Like they can be, I'm thinking a cotton linen blend or a cotton wool blend in those, because then they'll either stay warm or they'll stay cooler. Um, I don't know. They would be worn year round. So I'm drawn, what I was going to get to that is I'm drawn to these colors. More like blue jean and beige and black and very neutral. And I did a color palette thing with my eye color and my hair color, and I'm like, I always look so bleh. Like I have no life and no energy. And with that, I found that I am a summer color palette. Summer cool color palette, is it? Let's see, summer cool color palette or the summer cool muted palette. I'm just going to show you cool summer palette. That's my colors right there. That's the colors I can wear and look good in. I don't see any black. I see some gray, some beige. Muted cool colors too. Some muted cool summer colors are good. Like this color I have on is like a muted green color. So I'm trying to find different colors like that that are good for me. Like here's pictures that show the different colors. I'm drawn to purples, but I never thought that I looked good in purples. Well, oh, sorry. According to this, I'm trying to move things around. I don't look good in dark purple, but I do look good in a lighter purple. You know what I mean? The bright summery colors only in muted, not like real stand out. So look at these colors. I was drawn to these. That's on my feet. That's my colors. I'm like, doesn't it look great? I mean, I'm holding socks up to my face, but it's the colors. But that's where I'm getting. Sorry, I've got the hiccups again. That's what I'm getting to. Is my clothes look drab when I'm wearing them because they just don't match me at all. Um, and I'm trying to get things that, yeah, I'm fair skinned, I'm light skinned, I burn easy when I'm in the sun. I'm, if I'm not careful, I have that darker reddish strawberry blonde slash gray hair. I have hazel eyes. I don't do I do makeup. I just don't do a lot of makeup, and I usually go months without wearing makeup. I don't like the having to I guess what I say, the feel. If I get too hot, it like magnifies the heat on me, and then I'm wiping my face, and then the makeup's all streaked, and I don't like that. I will, however, wear like a little tint every now and then. I like a tinted lip gloss. I wouldn't mind some eyeshadow, but I cannot wear eyeliner or mascara. It inter it My eyes are so sensitive that I can't. So, anyway, my intentional knitting at this point is going to be colors in the color palette that I showed. And one thing is, I showed at one point that I was making the staple linen top. And I messed up on the wraps and turns on the back, and it wasn't coming out right, so I need to take it apart. I have um linen fingering weight yarn. That's it. It's pure linen, but it is a beige. And I'm afraid that if I use that it's just the wrong color. It's like putting that on, it's like gonna wash me out, I guess. It's the same color as my skin. So if you look in this color palette, if you can see it, you see the lighter colors here, but there's not a beige. There's like a beigey ivory, and it goes straight into a gray. So it's not the beige that I'm talking about, because the beige I'm talking about is the color of this tongue depressor. Darker. I, and I'm sitting here thinking, do I really want to do that? Is it going to be something that I'm going to wear after all? Do I want to take that out and say, okay, I'm going to do this when, if I put it on, am I going to like it? It's because I have clothes now that I just really I don't wear, because I don't like the way they look on me at all. I have a couple of things that are kind of a orangey color, orange sickle color that I really like, that looks good on me, but I didn't realize why. It's because it's my color. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at with the intentional knitting. And so I'm at that point where a lot of the yarn that I have, that I bought to do things like that. Now, the linen, I have to say, the beige linen was something that I got from a uh a sale that my old knitting spinning group that I was in up in Seattle, they had a sale to for people to bring yarns or fabrics or any kind of crafting stuff that they no longer wanted. They could bring it in there and they could sell it. So I got that linen at one of those sales, and it's enough to make me like a tank top or what have you. And I had it in my stash, and I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. And then I messed up on it, and then I took this skin test, and they're like, people say, well, wear what you like, what makes you happy. Well, I want to wear what makes me happy, but at the same time, if I like the style of something like that staple tee by Joji, but it's in a color that doesn't look good on me, I'm not going to wear it. And then I got to thinking, I like to wear things like a button-up shirt and cardigans, and I thought I could still make that staple tee and then make for a layer option, and then make a cardigan or like that granny square cardigan or something, or even have a button-up top in the colors that look better against my skin, because that's just a layering option. I can wear the button-up top with the sleeves rolled up and have it unbuttoned at that point and just kind of layer. Because working in an office, the air conditioner's going, it's going to be cold, I'm going to need something. And then whenever I go out, I'm just going from the office to home. I can take that top off and just have the tank top. So I'm not sure if that's what I want to do, or if I want to try to de-stash that yarn. But anyway, that's where I'm at. That's why my knitting mojo is off. I think I'm overwhelmed with trying to do intentional knitting for myself. I do have a sweater that I'm making for my partner. I have it. It's my first bottom-up sweater. I don't know. I don't have it in here with me, but let me see if I can find it on my Ravelry page. Here it is. It's the Fishermans Raglan by Ulven. That's it right there. I'm doing the crew neck. So it's not going to have that huge neck on it. I'm not going to do that much ribbing. But this is it's going to be more like that one. Not as much ribbing. But this is a great pattern it's like a unisex pattern. And I'm going to do it for myself as well. But something that I didn't realize before I started this pattern, they're showing all of the pictures from the front. And it's got that cute braided looking pattern that's done with slip stitches on the front, but it's not on the back. To me, I think I would like it on the front and back, but I don't know. I'm doing his 2 pattern. I'm at the split for the sleeves because it's bottom up. You stop where the sleeves go and then you knit the sleeves separately, and then you bring it in to add it in. So I'm at that point, so it's something new for me because I've not done that before. I don't know how that's going to work. Sometimes I can overcomplicate things. And Joji Locatelli said something one time when I heard her. I think it was her that said it. It was like, trust the pattern. The designer has done the work for you. They've had the pattern sent to the tech editor. They've had it tested. Just trust the pattern. Yes, you're supposed to look at the pattern. You're supposed to kind of skim through it, read it. But just work it as the pattern says, because they've gotten all of that done for you. And it may not have been her that said that. It may have been something that I heard while I was working one of her patterns, which was the pebble tunic. And that was the first time I'd ever done that kind of sweater construction. So trust the pattern. So I'm doing it. But anyway, that's where my mojo is at, or not at, or ran away to. And I'm done rambling. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Whenever you're watching this, make something, make yourself happy, make someone else happy. Just enjoy you. Bye.